Welcome to another cricket video, and we just had day one finish at the second test between India and England at Chennai. And Jermaine, what do you make of it? India in control, aren't they? They won the toss and got a decent score at the end of the day with a spinning wicket around.
Yeah, India would be pleased with that score, especially with the start they got. I thought they were going to crumble. Well, when I woke up in the morning, I think Gill and Kohli, they're two probably most reliable players, get out so cheaply, and then Sharma not having scored many runs in Australia or the first test. So yeah, I think India have done well, but I think they won the toss a lot. England did in the first Test match. I mean, they should probably have been looking to get 500 plus like England, isn't it? But I don't think they'll get anywhere near that now.
No, exactly. That's a good point. Do you think India need a score kind of near 400 then? Because I know it's a spinning wicket, but still, I'm just a bit unsure about whether England will be rattled as quickly as everyone seems to think they will be.
Yeah, definitely over 400, 450. Yeah, the pitch is spinning. But and then yeah, India have chosen three like high quality spinners, haven't they? So but yeah, I do agree that I don't think England will, be bowled over that quickly.
Yeah, because some of their players are in form, aren't they? And Joe Root showed some good form in the first innings, so in the first test. So we just need to be careful that we don't expect England to be skilled over 400. But anyway, India did really well, didn't they? And Rohit Sharma showed how valuable he is to the team because I know there's been a lot of kind of frustration with India fans with Rohit Sharma struggling to be as consistent in Test cricket. But I suppose is he a bit like the modern day Virender Sehwag? You think just kind of coming out of these big schools and even if he misses out, still he's very valuable, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. But I was actually quite disappointed actually because although he did get 161, it's just the first day. He should have just gone on to score 200 or 250 plus quite easily. So I was actually quite disappointed that he sort of got out towards the end of the day. So yeah, I think he needs to bear that in mind as well. Just like Joe Root, just play the day out sensibly, isn't it? And just score a big total, not just be satisfied with the 150 plus especially if you're 1-0 down in a test series, isn't it?
It's a good point, very good point, because he had the opportunity there to carry on batting, and he showed that the pitch isn't easy to bat on. Because if you take his score out of the equation, really India didn't do that well, did they? And we'll come on to the other points in a minute. But Kohli, firstly, he failed to contribute. He didn't even get a single run, did he? He got out for a duck. What do you make of that? His form and the way he got out.
So yeah, the way he got out, bizarre. Trying to review that. I mean, he was bold quite clearly, and yeah, I think he's just letting down the team as captain, especially. He got a 72 in the second innings in the last test match, but that was just fighting a losing battle really. And in the first innings, last test, he got 11 runs. So, and in Australia, he didn't really do that well in the first test match. So yeah, I think his form has dipped massively. Yeah, he needs to salvage himself in the second innings really because he's all good being a good captain, but you got Rahane who's a good captain and who's actually got some runs today as well. So he needs to sort of get more runs, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think with Kohli, I think the problem is the momentum. I think his momentum is gone completely because he's been out of the team, and I think he's actually a bit shocked that India did so well in Australia without him because I think maybe he thought that the team is really reliant on him, and because Rahane has shown how good he is as captain potentially as well. I think he's under a bit of pressure, and yeah, that was a bit odd the way he was standing ground when he got bowled. It was a clearly bowled there, and it wasn't quite a DRS referral, I don't think, but he was sticking around and he was a bit surprised. But the fact was that he was bowled quite obviously, really, and yeah, he needs to step up his game a bit because more and more pressure being put on him now. And Rahane did really well, didn't he, today? Because good form, getting a half century there.
Yeah, he did well. Although not the biggest score in the world, it was still 67, and that partnership was crucial, wasn't it, for India? So yeah, I think he'll be pleased today. But going forward, he came in quite early, so he probably would have wanted to score a century. So yeah, but yeah, done well, done well.
I was a little bit disappointed with the way he got out as well, actually, because I think he was kind of hitting across the line a bit, wasn't he, when he got bowled? And you would have thought that he might have been a bit more sensible getting to the end of the day, don't you think?
Yeah, it was quite bizarre actually, and there's quite a few LBW appeals, wasn't there? So he kept on leaving the ball in making the situation quite awkward, isn't it? Especially against like Ollie Stone. So um, yeah, so and yeah, he got out towards the end of the day, isn't it? So yeah, not too sure what happened with India towards the end of the innings there. Lost a lot of wickets, three wickets quite quickly, didn't they?
Yeah, lost a few. I think the pitch was really, really difficult towards the end of the day. And I think some of these players, like Rahane, I think he was struggling with the spin. I wasn't convinced really throughout his innings. Well, when he was facing Leach, I had a feeling that Leach could get him out any moment sometimes. And even Moeen Ali, it just seemed like Rahane could be LBW or caught at that pad as well. So not that convinced with the way they play the spin. I don't know what you think of that. Do you think they improved, or do you think Rohit just played really well?
I think they managed the spin quite well, but maybe it's, tiredness contributed to their wickets being taken, or but yeah, I think yeah, Rohit Sharma did okay, but yeah, I think Rahane was quite suspect throughout his innings, wasn't he? I mean, yeah, there was quite a few chances for the spinners to get him out, and I would have been quite confident as an English spinner to get him out without scoring a massive total, which they did.
Yeah, I'm sometimes a little bit skeptical of how good some of these Indian players are going to spin, to be honest. And but Rohit Sharma did extremely well. We touched on him a little bit earlier, but brilliant century there in those conditions. And what do you make of his century? He's massive knock for India there, because if you don't do that, it just all of a sudden looks a lot worse, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 161 out of 300, and yeah, at that time India were behind the eight ball, so yeah, really raised his game, and yeah, for him, it was sort of he had to do it, isn't it? It was probably his sort of, well, I wouldn't say career on the line, but probably for the time being, he might not have been in the reckoning for a while if he hadn't scored such amount of runs, isn't it? I mean, so yeah, he done the team well, justice, and yeah, obviously he's going to be playing in the next Test match now, isn't he?
Yeah, they just need a bit more of that from him. It's all well and good getting hundreds, but consistency is really important. So let's see if he can carry on with that, because India are 1-0 down, remember, so they need to really win this match. So a lot of pressure on the team still. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because maybe that played a little bit to why England made so many changes, you think, because the team was almost completely different to the previous match, wasn't it? So many changes.
Yeah, it's true. I don't still get the rotation policy, which is quite bizarre. So be Ben Foakes, Ollie Stone, Moeen Ali, Stuart Broad, four changes, four sort of key changes, isn't it? So yeah, not too sure what they're thinking really.
Yeah, I think it's just this whole, maybe it's difficult, with COVID and living in a bubble and stuff. Maybe they want a bit of need a bit of space from the team. So maybe you can see why they're going for the changes. But I suppose Moeen Ali, though, he was in one of the new players in the team. He went for many runs, but he did get Cody's wicket. I don't know what your thoughts on Moeen Ali. He's a bit of a Marmite type player, isn't he? Some people really like him. A lot of people hate him as well.
Actually, yeah, I still enjoyed Moeen Ali's performances, especially just coming back off, not playing Test cricket for a while, probably over a year, right? So yeah, he did quite well. Got the wicket of the key wicket of Kohli, so got him out for a duck, and then got Rahane out, and then took the catch for Rohit Sharma, isn't it? So yeah, well, yeah, he's had a good day. He's definitely had a great day.
Yeah, I find with Moeen Ali, he's one of those players that even if he does well in terms of getting wickets, people always slate him and they say, why is he going for so many runs? But when he goes for runs, people always say, why is he not taking wickets? So it's almost like a he can't win sometimes, and even with the bat, if he's batting at 8 and doesn't get many runners, people say, oh, you should have got more runners, but he is batting at 8. So it's a bit harsh, isn't it, on him sometimes? And I think people supporting him should probably be a bit more lenient with what he can do, because he's not Superman, really, is he? So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on that. But Ollie Stone was good, wasn't he? Very impressive, I thought. What do you think of Ollie Stone?
Yeah, great. Yeah, he done really well. He's bowling quite quick. I think one of his balls was about 150 miles, wasn't it? So it's sort of Archer's pace. Yeah, of course, the problem to Rahane, I thought as well towards the end. Yeah, quite impressed. Quite impressed with him. He's better. I think he's a much better pick than Anderson to it. I know Anderson did relatively well at the end of the last innings, but I think going forward, especially abroad, I think Ollie Stone might be a better choice, isn't it, going forward?
Yeah. 150 kilometers, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 150 kilometers. Yeah,
yeah, sure.
That's yeah, you're right. He was very quick. That's about 95, 90 miles per hour. So he was. I thought he was also very good with his line and length and just hitting the pitch. And he's a bit like Rabada, I thought, just the way he was bowling. It reminded me a bit of Rabada. So very impressed. It's a bit of a shame that he's not really played much, because I had a look at his age. He's not kind of a 21-year-old. He's a little bit older than that. I think he's in his late 20s, isn't he? So you'd imagine he's got maybe 10 years left in him. So let's see how he does. But yeah, what about Leach? Leach bowled well as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Leach done really well. Much better than the last Test match. So yeah, yeah, quite impressive Leach, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, that's about it, really, isn't it? Those are our summary points. I suppose what's left is to see what happens on day 2, which will be very interesting, because England have it all to do now. India 300 for 6 at the end of day 1, and Rishabh Pants at the crease. So it'll be very good to see. And thanks all for watching this. Please keep watching our channel. We've got loads of videos coming up. So appreciate all the support you guys are giving. So thanks a lot. All right. Cheers.